So when you'll get a lot of people arguing about how he fulfilled the law and we're not under the law anymore. And what people don't understand is that sacrificial law is different. He became the sacrifice. He ended sacrificial law by doing what he did, and he gave his life up for the northern kingdom of Israel to be grafted back in. But what happened was they didn't show up, okay? They didn't come down. They missed their visitation. And often when it's even in the New Testament, it's called the dispersed. Yeshua uses it that way. I don't know I read the King James, so dispersed is used. He's arguing with the Pharisees, and he says, well, where I go, you cannot come. And they're speaking to each other and they're saying, what's he talking about? Where he goes, we cannot come. Is he going to go and get the dispersed out of the Gentiles or out of the Greeks? So what happened was, okay, so the names change over the years, and this is just the honest truth. So Christians, you got to smarten up about this because it tells us we're going to do this. So the northern kingdom was kicked out of Israel. This is why so many times you see, like even in Acts 2, I think it is, maybe even Acts 1, it says that, the apostles, or one of the apostles is asking, is it time for the kingdom to be restored? That's what it's talking about, the 10 tribes. In the Maccabees, you'll notice that Judah, which is the southern kingdom, is Judah and Benjamin, and the portion of Levites that remained with them. And they were still dispersed in Judah as well. Not everybody returned when they went into captivity into Babylon. But because they repented, God opened up the opportunity in Nehemiah. I think it is the best place to find that part of the story out, because they repented. And so God said, okay, go rebuild my temple. So then the Jews were forgiven, and they weren't, they weren't cast out. They weren't divorced. They were punished for a time, but they weren't divorced. But the northern kingdom got divorced. And because they didn't return after their time of punishment was 390 years, 7 times was their punishment. But Messiah came to give his life up so that they could be grafted back into the olive tree, which is Israel. Okay? Now, the Christian church cannot, lots of them, the majority I speak to, the proof is right when I talk to people. They do not understand this whatsoever. And it's like, how do you proclaim yourself to be first a Christian and not know the Bible? That's just a rhetorical question that should be on everybody's heart. I better learn the Bible. In fact, Christ says, I don't pray for the world, but those who are sanctified in the truth, who read the Bible and learn the truth. So if you miss the major part of the Bible and even why Yeshua came, then it's like, and this is how it works, okay? God knew that the northern kingdom would not come back, okay? And that's why the Gentiles were offered salvation. So he's saying, okay, there's a time of refreshing when I'm going to refresh the Holy Covenant and the sacrificial law, and I'm going to offer the covenant to the entire world, those who have ears to hear. Because the northern kingdom, God's people, were scattered into the Gentiles. They were part of the Gentiles. And the prophecy is that Israel, the northern kingdom, and those who are still scattered in Judah will be returned in the latter days, in the last days. That's why you have prophecy about the 144,000. That's why the time of Jacob's trouble, which is the tribulation, Jacob gets saved out of it. And it says that those of the Gentiles that are with Jacob. If you read the whole Bible and you start catching this concept, that's the way it works. So God knows his Israelites. They are blind in part until the fullness of the Gentiles. Now, I try to explain it to put emphasis on the northern kingdom. I'm never, ever excluding the southern kingdom when I talk about this, but the major part of the prophecy is the northern kingdom, because they're the only ones that did not return even a portion, right? Like Judah, when Christ came, there was a guy that was pointing the finger at the Jews for killing Christ. It was Rome. It was the leaders of the Jews. Yeah, they did kill him, and so also those that followed. But he gave his life for all of us so that we could all be saved. It's not about pointing the finger and blaming. Let God do that part on Judgment Day. Those who are responsible for that act, like Judas Iscariot, Pontius Pilate, that God will decipher how their punishment will be, whether Christ forgave them as he's dying on the cross. So the option for us is forgiveness. And if Christ could forgive them, then so can we, if we are like Christ. And the same thing with Stephen. You should notice that when Stephen was getting stoned, his last words was, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And the truth in the matter is that when you do start following the commandments and such, you start to realize how when they're praying, "Forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing." You don't know how many times that I have to say that to these people who even argue and say these stupid things, curse me, call me. Even brothers have called me from the synagogue of Satan themselves, and "Get behind me, Satan." Brothers that follow the 10 Commandments have said that. They're supposed to be brothers, Anyway, so you have to read 1 Kings, 2 Kings, or 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles to really understand the concept of the northern kingdom. And that's like Asher and Gad and Naphtali and Reuben and Manasseh and Ephraim. And like there is so many lies in the church right now because they don't, some people say they don't read the beginning of the book. That's true. So you can't understand the New Testament unless you read the beginning of the book. And now you go to Romans 10 and Romans 11, and that's what this is talking about. So when the northern kingdom is raised up out of the Gentiles in the last days, they are going to be jealous of a foolish nation, and it's not excluding the Jewish people. It's just the main part of this prophecy. And any Jewish teacher in the southern kingdom should recognize this, that in Romans 10, it's not talking about Jewish people. They didn't do this sin, this abomination that got them divorced. It was the northern kingdom. Judah, what they did was they broke the Sabbath. They broke the Shemitah, if that's how right way to say it, the Shemitah year, the year of rest, and they were booted out for that. And they're doing it again right now because they refuse the Dead Sea Scrolls and to get onto the right calendar and and to know the Jubilee, and God gave them that, and it's going to be a testimony against them. That's why Jerusalem's going to get destroyed. Part of the reason. The other part of the reason is because they keep up all those altars, which is going to insult the Christians when I say this, but all those Christian altars to Baal, that's all the Christmas Jesus stuff. That is exactly what we're not supposed to be doing. His name is Yeshua. He's a Jew, and they don't name their children Greek names, Jesus, okay? This man was a Jew, our Savior, and Yeshua was his name. And Christ himself prophesied that we're gonna call him by a different name. So did John, and John calls it Antichrist. But anybody who denies Yeshua, all the devil had to do is put the name Jesus in there, which he did. And anybody who denies Yeshua, which is he who comes in the name of the Father, Yah saves, is Yeshua, then and that was the whole prophecy. And it says that anybody who prophesies in a different name will be required of them. It's just incredible what people are missing in the Bible because they're presumptuous. They're jumping to conclusions, and they've never studied the scriptures like a Berean. It's clear for those of us who do to see it. So to confront this issue, you must learn what the difference between Judah and the northern kingdom is, because every time in every book, this is already after. This isn't like all the prophets are all prophesying about the northern kingdom. Not just, but when they are prophesying about the northern kingdom, it's talking about you and I.